Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Just in the beginning, I apologize about this bad voice. Just gone with workshop 3 hours. So I hope, inshallah, you can understand my talk. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Lessons from history. History is vital for any nation. Some philosophers said, if you want to destroy a nation, cut their generation from their roots. If you want to destroy a nation, cut their generation from their roots. That's really a fact. If a nation wants to revive and they don't know their history, there's a big problem. There's identity crisis here. That's why the Quran, history in Quran is very important. There's a big part from Quran is just about history. From the beginning in Fatiha, we recite Fatiha every single time. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Guide us to the straight path. Then he said, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. The path for those you are pleased with. Why he mentioned the path of those who pleased with? Is it not enough to say the straight path? Why he add the path? He want to explain the path more, very clearly. The path of those. It means in the past. It means you have to connect yourself with your heritage. Connect with yourself, with your roots. If any nation want to revive. Many times I visit some schools, that's a long time ago, in Muslim country, in different Arab country, and I always ask the girls, who can tell me the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And it's very rare to find one girl know the wives of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when I visit the school of the boys, I ask them very simple question. The children of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And sometimes you find one know some of them, some say the rest. And this is basic of our roots. If we don't know our roots properly, then there's identity crisis. If a boy or girl nowadays can talk about any football player in details, and you know nothing about his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then how can we revive then? So the message here is, teach your children their roots. And the roots here, the top of these roots is the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the life of Anbiya before him. In Makki Quran, Makki surahs, in Surah Al-Anbiya and Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah mentioned many stories about His prophets. And then He said in the end, إِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُونَ إِنْ أَنْبِيَاء فَاتَّقُونَ إِنْ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. This is your nation. This related to all the Anbiya before us. It means our Ummah start long time ago. All the Anbiya and their good followers are our Ummah. Why he mentioned this in Makki period in Sirah? Just to give the Muslims, early Muslims, their identity. You came from roots which they pleased Allah long time ago. That's why a message for every single parent, a message for every young man or young woman here. Try to make a goal from right now. I want to read my history. The life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the life of his companions, and then go to some of the big leaders during the history. When you know them in details, that will make big difference. You know, many of us know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but not in details. In this masjid, we have classical books every Wednesday, and the second course we took here is about the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 8 weeks. I said in the beginning of the course that there's a story happened in my country, Mauritania, 200 years ago. There were a group of young people. They study in Mahdara, you can say Darul Ulum nowadays. And they went in a journey in the desert. They feel thirsty. They saw a tent not far from them. They came to that tent. There was an old woman in that tent. They said, "We want some water." The old woman said, "Yes, of course. But I want to ask you one question about your prophet. If you ask the question, I'll give you the water." They said, "Ask 100 questions. Life of the prophet, everyone know the life of the prophet." She said, "It's just one question." She said, "Who can tell me the name of the grandma of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from his mother's side?" No one of that group can answer the question. And then one of them, called Ahmed al-Majlisi, he said, "How can I know my grandma name and I don't know the name of grandma of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I will read every single book about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." Then he eventually wrote 2 poems. Till now, we study that poem in our country. It's about the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in details. And I will say now to the youth here, if I ask you about the grandma of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, does anyone can answer and give him 10 pounds? From his mother's side. If you are my students, you can answer straight away. So you don't have 10 pounds. If you are not, then please let me know. So this is, the point here is, the more you know about him, the more you have that identity. The more you know about his companions, the more you do that strong identity. Then you can talk about Sahaba. And after Sahaba, you talk about the role models after that. For example, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Many of us know this, the 5th Khalifas. He just was Khalifa for 2 years, from 99 to 101 in Hijri calendar. And he died before he reached 40 years old. And all the historians talk about how he changed and revived the Ummah in just 2 years. 40 years old only. The one, Usama ibn Zayd, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said before he passed away, he said the leader of that army is Usama ibn Zayd. Usama that time was 17 or 18 years old only. And he led a special army. How Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam built that type of generation. When a young man in this time read about Usama ibn Zayd, then he will realize that I have roots like this. I can be a leader in an age of 18 years old. Muhammad al-Fatih, the one who conquered Istanbul, make Istanbul Islamic city, he was 21 years old. And his scholar, the one who take care of him when he was young, he used to go every single day with Muhammad al-Fatih while he was young, with the coast of, which is now, he is in this coast, and Istanbul is in another coast, and there's just river between them. And every single day, say to that child, your Prophet ﷺ one day said, لَتَفْتَحُنَّ الْقُسْطَنْطِينِيَّةِ. One day, this city will be Islamic city. فَلَنِعْمَ الْأَمِيرُ أَمِيرُهَا وَنِعْمَ الْجَيْشُ ذَلِكَ الْجَيْشُ. And Rasulullah ﷺ praised the leader who will be the leader of that army. He say that every single day to that child, just to connect him from the roots, because it's very important for any nation if they want to revive. If we look at the book of Hadith nowadays, they will mention that there is only 7 companions, only 7. They are at the top of narration. every single one of them narrate more than 1,000 hadith. Only 7, and the 7 are all young people. Abu Huraira, Abdullah ibn Umar, Aisha radiyallahu anha, Anas ibn Malik, Abdullah ibn Abbas, Jabir ibn Abdullah, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Only 7. And every single one of them, Allah give them long life, more than the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The 7. Just to spread that ilm. I want young people here to look for that roots. To have the books when you come from the school and have some book to read, that's good. Try to read about the big leaders of our ummah long time ago. And you'll find yourself, you want to make change in this ummah because you have some examples. Either examples in ilm, in medicine, in mathematics. There is a book, there is a professor in Manchester University, Al-Husseini. He and his group tried to make initiative to wrote about the Muslims inventors who contribute to the civilization. And they summarize their initiative with a book. I encourage every single one to buy this book. It's called 1001 Inventions. 1001 Inventions. It's talk about what Muslims contribute to the medicine, to the mathematics, to the business, to the science. Because we always here in this Western country read about those people who contribute with the Western, which is fine. But we ignore that Muslim also, they contribute a lot to civilization. Because any civilization, they will contribute. Why? We can't find Muslim contribution. They just talk about the Greek philosophers, and suddenly they go to 16th century. Where is this gap? They called Dark Ages. Dark Ages for them is golden ages for us. And in that golden ages, we can learn a lot. Now we learn Al-Jabra. Al-Jabra is Arabic term. It's called Al-Jabr, where Al-Khwarizmi is the first one who talk about this branch of science. They still, which is the essence of algorithm with all these computers, and if our youth know some of these scientists, there will be a possibility for Ummah to revive. Can I ask youth here to tell me some names of the famous scientists or famous doctors or famous, do you know any of them in the history? Muslims? Don't tell me Isaac Newton or Einstein. I know you know them, but I want Islamic. Yes, go on. Ibn Sina in medicine. What else? Ibn Khaldun in sociology. Okay, go on. Al-Bayruni, very good. Where do you learn this, Al-Bayruni? Go on. So you used to watch Islamic series in YouTube. That's very good. There's a small, you can watch a video very important, which is 1001 Inventions, just 11 minutes, that show the contribution of Islamic scholars to the civilization. And it's, so my message here is, teach your children their roots, their heritage. And if you are a young man, try to read about. If you are interested in medicine, then read about the contribution of Muslim to the medicine. If you are interested in math, read about the math, Muslim, what they contribute to the math, and so on. That's the main message. The second message in my talk, when we look at the Muslim countries nowadays, maybe you lose hope. You see what happened in Gaza, what happened before in Iraq, in Sham, in Yemen, in Sudan, in Burma. In many countries, you thought, oh, this is disaster. Ummah will never revive. If you know history, You have many examples that Ummah suffer the same situation or even worse in the history, and they revive again. If you read about when the Mongolian conquered Baghdad in 656 in Hijri calendar, and they destroyed everything. That 1 million books, they throw it in the river, and they killed 1 million people in just few days, and you said, there's no hope. And after that Ummah revival in Bilad al-Sham again, and you'll be surprised when you read history that Mongolian and all these Mongolian, many of them became Muslims. This is the phenomena of history, that the one who conquered a place now became or convert to the religion of that. This is rare in history. Many of the Mongolian, they became Muslims, and Baghdad revived again. If you read history, you have some examples not to lose hope. No, this happened before. Ummah will wake up again. When you read about Palestine, they conquered Palestine for 200 years, and then Salahuddin again bring Jerusalem back again to the Muslim Ummah. And when you read about his ethics and morals with his enemies and how he tolerate with them, you'll say again, there is hope. Ummah can revive. When you read history about when Muslims conquered all these countries, different races, different colors, different tribes, and they all come together in a harmony which is amazing, you'll say again, Ummah can revive again and can has unity again. Even when you read about Rasulullah ﷺ and how he united Arab in Jahiliyyah, different tribes, they start war for nothing. They have war for 40 years. The reason, because one man killed the camel of his cousin. So they start a war because camel was killed. And that war is between cousins for 40 years. Another famous war, Dahis wal Ghabra. There was a race between horses. And one horse is about to win that race, and one just threw the bone to that horse, distract that horse. So a war starts for many years between cousins. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam revive this ummah again and make them one ummah, that they sacrifice their life to each other. So whenever you read history, you say, oh, I will never lose hope. I will never lose hope. So these two lessons from history. Number one, know your roots, because otherwise you can't establish your future. Malcolm X said, if I don't know my history, I will not start my present and future. Malcolm X is also an example that if you read the life of this man, Malcolm X, that he go with a group which deviate him from the right path from Islam, and he spent many years with them till he decide one day to go to Hajj. And when he was in Arafat, he realized, oh, that's what philosophers look for. How can this unity with Ummah? I can see many different colors, races, nations, and they all together do the same action, worship the same Lord, and do the same movement. That's what Islam can do. And then he explored the real Islam in the end of his life, only when he went to Hajj. So our deen and our history is rich, but the problem is we don't read our history. I have hope at one day that when the teacher come to any school, Islamic school, and ask about the role models. Who are your role models? All the young people, they will indicate some of the role models of our rich history, because we have very rich history. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala guide us to the straight path. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala give us to understand our history. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala revive this ummah and never lose hope. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala relieve the pain of our brothers and sisters around the world, especially in Gaza. Allahu A'lam wa sallallahu ala abdi Rasulih Sayyidina Muhammad.